Hello, everyone. My name is Deborah. I'm the founder of Afro Swag Media and Magazine. Today, we have two awesome panelist guests, and we'll be talking about the importance of diversity. Why is it important to talk about diversity every day? We all know as African American, as Black people in the US, with the current event and everything that is going on is very unfortunate, but we still have to talk about diversity. We want to be peaceful. Please allow us to still talk about it. I'll have my first panelist, Kimya Nuru, Dr. Kimya Nuru, introduce herself. Welcome, Doctor.
Hi, I'm Kimya Nuru Dennis. I'm a criminologist, sociologist, and founder of 365 Diversity. And you can check me out at 365diversity.com. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show. And my second guest panelist is Sekou Kamara. Sekou, welcome to the show. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Deborah. And it's an honor to be on this platform with Kimya. It's an absolute honor. I read your bio, very impressive. And yeah, like I said, it's an honor just to be in your presence and have this conversation. My name is Sekou, originally from West Africa, the Gambia. I'm an engineer by profession, but I'm a motivational speaker, an author, a founder and president of a nonprofit organization, Your Change for a Change. And I just love people, man. I think people are dope.
Thank you for that introduction. Let's dive right in. So, what is diversity? And any of you can just take the question and answer.
Yeah, I will let my sister go in on this first.
So for me, diversity is more than surface level and tokenism. So when I created 365 Diversity LLC, I intentionally used that name because for more than a decade, I was very critical of most diversity trainings and all implicit bias trainings. And I was very critical of whenever people say things like, my police department's diverse, my military unit is diverse. And so that's why I use the logos, discuss diversity daily, and I am not your typical diversity training. Because most people, when they say diversity, they're talking about add a few speckles of brown people, add some LGBTQ people, and those marginalized people are here, but they better shut up and accommodate the people who are in charge. And so I use that intentionally to throw a jab at people, to challenge them to stop using that white dictionary definition of diversity and delve beyond the tokenism surface level.
Thank you for that, Dr. Sekou.
I think one of the smartest things I've learned being on multiple panels is that always allow women who are smarter than you to speak first, because they usually speak so eloquently that way all you have to say, yeah, exactly, that's what I was wanting to say. And I you 100%. So
not gonna do that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So I will always defer to most of the things I realize that Kimya will say, and I will just say, yep, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Because but a lot of times when I think of diversity, I think of fairness. And fairness doesn't mean equality, in my understanding and from my perspective. Fairness is making sure that you treated everything fairly, not equally. Meaning in the case that when you're talking about business opportunities, when you go to companies, we have all seen it. You will see that nice young African-American woman with straight hair on the website like this. You know, she sees the face of diversity of the company. And she's probably even a higher up person, maybe someone in decision making, sitting on the board or something of the company. But then you look everywhere else, you find like almost no women in the entire department or no other person of color. She's just the face of that. So in their own thought, they're trying to create some sense of equality when they talk about diversity. But when you look at the fairness of it, do they have enough minorities in that company? And if they do have those minorities, are they in a position to make decisions, or are they just a bunch of staff members just in low-level jobs and whatnot? So in my opinion and my understanding, when you speak of diversity, it's about fairness. Not only do you need to have different subgroups and minorities in your team, but you need to make sure that when they're on the team, they are in the position of power to make decisions. Not only do you need to have 1 or 2 women in your organization or executives to make you look like you're diverse, but when you have them in there, do they have any voting powers? Do they have any decision-making powers? Can they influence decisions? That's what I see when I talk about diversity. Is it fair?
And thank you for saying that, because when we say them having decision-making power, a lot of times, especially if you're talking about race, predominantly white spaces will claim that the Black and brown people have decision-making power, but the Black and brown people themselves know that this decision-making power requires them to make the decision that the white people approve.
Yes.
It is not decision-making power, right?
No.
So that's the accommodation assimilation, and it also shapes how we express our cultures. So if we feel required to have straight hair, if we were required to have lighter skin, anything hiding the origins of thousands of years of cultures, right? That's not inclusion, and that's not equity. Instead, that's white people saying, you're welcome here, just make sure you don't make a fuss.
Yes.
Yep.
So, Dr. Kimya Nuru, this question is for you. I know you provide a lot of training to several organizations to include law enforcement. Can you please tell us a little bit about that process and some of the things that you have noticed?
Yeah, so one of my mottos is I am not your typical diversity training. And I say that because I do get work done workshops, which is if I'm not just your check off the list of to-dos. I'm not just, if you're told, let's pretend we care about diversity, let's do a training and everyone shut up about it. I require organizations, schools to come into my workshops with a list of things that they want changed. We talk about ways to draft different policies, and then we schedule follow-up, meaning my workshops and trainings are works in progress. And it's not just sitting there staring at me, looking at a PowerPoint. It's not me making white people smile. If it's about gender justice, I'm not just making men smile. I'm making the power majority uncomfortable. And why? Because I tell schools and organizations and police departments that I don't believe in theoretical change. So people who are stuck on quoting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., people who are stuck on saying some of my best friends are African, they need to dissect that before they enter the room in my workshops, because they're going to be very uncomfortable. I'm not going to allow them just to stare and say, well, what time is lunch, right? This is literally get work done workshops. And then I say, okay, let's schedule a 6-month or annual follow-up to see how are we changing some policies and procedures. How are we changing the school system? What's being taught in these textbooks? I'm sick and tired of people complaining about educational injustice and racism in the education system, not just in the US, but in the Eastern and Western hemispheres, because white history, white science, white mathematics is the foundation everywhere, despite thousands of years before whiteness existed. I'm tired of people complaining about that. And then when I say, here's how to change it, now they feel some type of way. So my work is not just trainings, it's actually, you want to fuss about something, let's change it. Now, if you get offended by what I say about changing it, then I'm telling you to stop fussing. You got to pick one. I'm sick and tired of the word games. I'm sick and tired of people claiming they want to do some things and it's not happening because most people they don't want to break a sweat. And they also don't want to offend the people in power. I'm here to offend all them folk. And I'm fine with that.
Wow.
I tell people, if people leave my workshops and trainings, all of them comfortable, none of them feeling like something was thrown in their face, then I'm not doing my job. If the power majority doesn't feel like their power is being dismantled and they don't feel threatened, that means that I'm not doing my job. So this is why I challenge all supposed DEI experts, all supposed diversity offices, all those horrible implicit bias trainings. When people leave your workshops and trainings or walk out of your office and they are comfortable, they feel like their power is actually reinforced, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I will end there.
Thank you so much. So I would like to make a comment. This show is about putting the information out there. So we will encourage you to take away what you can. This is not to blame anyone. This is not to accuse anyone. These are facts. So I wanted to make that clear. Okay, back to you, Seiko.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the current development of events going on here in America, I saw that yesterday. As a matter of fact, let me bring this to the screen. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. I found this picture and this issue. I can break.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some comment that you put that you added to your social media platforms that went with that picture about protesting.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about protesting?
I think the first thing we need to address is why are we protesting? And I would like to correct one major misinformation that I've been arguing with right-wing conservatives on Twitter all day for the past few days. When they keep on bringing up George Floyd, may he so rest in power, murder as the only point on case. And yesterday, even some went further to say that, well, the police officer is in custody now. Why are you all still protesting? This is not about George Floyd murder alone. It is, I must address that it is important and this is part of it. This is not about Ahmad Arbury murder by vigilante neighborhood watch team duo, father and son duo, even though that is very important, I must also admit. This is not about Brian Taylor alone just being murdered in the middle of the night in her own comfort and safety. But even though that is very, very important, this is a historical, systematic suppression of the rights of Black people all over the world, not only in America, even though we are expressing it today in America. I want everyone to understand that the protest is just a symbolic gesture of our frustration. We have tried other means. We have tried to talk about it. We have tried to dialogue about it. We have tried to write about it. We have tried to subpoena our leaders, whether it is the Congress or governors or city mayors. We have done a multitude of things to try to bring to attention to our leaders to understand what our frustrations are, and they all seem to fall at their ears. So our last option is to actually go out and demonstrate it and dramatize our frustrations in action, peacefully for that matter. So we are not going out with any intention to hurt anyone. We are not going out any intention to damage any property. We are going out just to let the world know that we are here to say, please stop killing us. That's all we are saying. Please stop killing us. And to make sure that everyone understand that our existence is not a crime. Our Blackness is not a crime. If you are offended by our Blackness, if you are offended by our existence, you are the problem. We are not the problem. So when we go out to protest, these are the things that we are trying to say. Now, I must also add that I personally, I have never lost someone close to me due to racial violence or racially motivated crimes. I have never lost a family member due to these issues. So I cannot speak for every single Black person in this world. The Black struggle is not monolithic. Every Black person, being in Africa, Europe, Asia, Caribbean, in America, anywhere you go, we all go through our own individual struggles. So I can only speak to that what I know and that what I'm close to. So if someone else decides to go out there and express their frustration during a protest, to frustrate or to showcase their anger that has been bubbling inside them, I am in no position to tell them if they are right or wrong, or they are doing the right way or the wrong way, because there is no right way or wrong way to protest in this climate that we're living in. All we're saying is hear us. If you don't want to see the protest, focus on the reason why we are protesting. Try to resolve those issues. I guarantee you, I love ice creams. I'd rather spend my weekends sitting at an ice cream parlor, eating ice cream and laughing. I don't enjoy going out matching. I go out scared and afraid every single day I walk out. I don't know if I'm going to come back home. This is not fun for me. This is frustrating for me. I'm scared every single day out of my life to step out there and protest. But we are doing it because we have no choice. It is necessary, and this is why we're doing it. And I hope the rest of the world get to understand and empathize with our pain. This is what we are protesting about.
And thank you for saying that. I want to add, so I don't believe in apologetic language. I don't believe in providing disclaimers to comfort people. So when we say stop killing our people, you better remove the word please out of it. We don't have to say please stop killing us, right? Mm-hmm. So I say stop killing us. So, and that's important because when we're talking about African diaspora, we've always been told to make sure white people are not breaking a sweat. And to also make sure the Blacks who are tokens for white people are not breaking a sweat. I want them all to break many sweats, okay? I don't use please, I don't use question marks after sentences. When I say what I say, I mean exactly how I said it. I mean the exact words. So never do I end my speeches with well, I'm not calling anyone out. Actually, I'm calling all of you out. And I think that's something important because we are to blame if on one end we say stop oppression, but on the other end we say, oh, but I'm not blaming anyone. Damn it, we're blaming all of them, okay? And I'm not gonna be by myself as African diaspora using unapologetic language, okay? Don't ever say, please stop killing us. Damn it, stop killing us.
We have some comments on the screen. I'll keep posting them as I see them. This one is from Matics Prof. I want to steal that phrase. I'm not here to make others smile. My Get Down workshops, aka Working Shop, should make people dismantle their beliefs and challenge their privilege and how they use it. And from the same guy, he says position of power and make decisions, ability to influence and not the decision that only continues the status quo. I love how you all said that. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to the topic, we are talking about diversity and why is it important to talk about diversity every single day. We went over our different approaches of diversity, the definition of diversity, and the work that we are doing in the community. As we can see, I showed it a little bit. So this is Seiko himself. He was out on the streets yesterday, and I believe this morning also. And this is for something serious. It's more serious than the comments out there. When we see there are too much negativities out there, why are we doing such and such? Being in our shoes, personally, I'm African immigrant. I'm a mom. I have a son. He's 14 years old. Can you imagine that? It's been a while, over 2 months. I cannot let my son out of this house. Today, this morning, I went out for grocery shopping. It was raining. I needed help That way I can get back home quickly and get on this show. It was raining. I was afraid that if I took my son out, then he's going to have that hoodie on, raincoat on with a hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
What if somebody sick in their mind thinks whatever? That is the fear that we go through every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we understand violence doesn't solve any problem. Allow us to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncomfortable to talk about racism in America.
Mm-hmm.
For my Christian friends out there, whatever religion you have or you're part of, I'm a Christian and I'm talking to my Christian brothers and sisters. Talking about it is not sinful. Allow us to talk about it. That being said,
Thank you for saying that.
you're welcome, Dr. Kimya Nuru. So we keep seeing this over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It happened a while ago in Kentucky with Breonna Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
It happened in Georgia with Ahmad Arbury. It just happened in Minneapolis with George Floyd. And just this past week, a lot had happened with that lady in New York. We keep seeing this over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Kimya Nuru,
Mm-hmm.
is there an end to it? You provide training to a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these organizations to help prevent this. Is there an end to this?
So I don't believe that racism will ever end. Why? Because white privilege, white dominance, white supremacy will never end for many reasons, including most Black and brown people around the world are so accustomed to this format that they are against African diaspora people such as myself who work to dismantle this format. And that includes Black and brown people who think I'm going to ruin their job, I'm going to make white folk angry, and white folk are going to explode everything. So racism will never end. And that's also because most people are too busy comforting white people, making sure white people don't feel threatened, making sure white people don't cry at a diversity training, making sure white people don't break a sweat. And they see me as an angry Black woman, of course. And also, most people are too focused on caring about white people's prejudices and biases. So the work that I do, I outright say, and even when I was a professor, beginning of classes in which I taught about race and ethnic relations, I would outright say, I truly don't care if you don't like me as a Black woman. I truly don't care. My whole entire focus is dismantling the privilege and power to harm me as a Black woman. You can see me and call me all types of Negro, nappy head, whatever. But what you bet not do, and I said bet not, what you bet not do is physically harm me. You bet not enact policies and laws at the organization or in the societies around the world that make sure that my people are victims of medical racism, of exclusion in health practices, education system, and targeted by police and the penal system. And that's an important distinction because most people, when they see diversity, they truly want me to sit around looking at white folk and saying, I'm a human too, you must like me. Smile at me, white people. I tell white people every day, I'm tired of white people's smiles. White liberals, white conservatives, white Democrats, white Republicans, I'm telling you this, I'm tired of white people's smiles. Because the smiling white people are the same ones serving on board of directors, are the same ones on these school board committees, are the same ones who are in control of these publishing companies around the world, in which almost every Black and brown nation, including on the continent of Africa, when you go into the libraries, it's mostly white people writing the stuff that our people are learning, despite thousands of years of science and mathematics and medicine on the continent of Africa. So I tell white people, I don't need your baby talk. I don't need your smiles. I don't need your hug. I need your action. And when I say action, I do not care about internet activism. Posting something on LinkedIn means nothing. I want to see, what are people doing besides donating money? Are you donating your time? And not just during a protest in Kentucky or Minnesota. Because a lot of whites are doing that honestly, because now they want to be on social media again. Look, I'm protesting the Black vote. I don't thank white people for dismantling white supremacy. That's what white people should do, because white people created it, right? So now I want to see, what are white people doing to challenge the white supremacy of themselves, of their families, of their friends, of the police department where they work, of the medical facility where they work, and elsewhere. And yes, white folk, this will make you uncomfortable. You'll break a sweat. You're going to lose some friends. Some family won't invite you to the cookout. You might get fired. Guess what? Many Black women like myself have gotten omitted from employers because whites have stalked us and contacted our employers. So unless white people are able to be uncomfortable and challenged in that regard, white people only believe in theoretical anti-racism.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kimya Nuru. Seiko, this question is for you. I keep seeing on social media, white silence is violence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've seen it too.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
That white silence is violence?
Is violence, yeah.
Okay. I think we have to look at from the historic context of everything that is happening. And we can start with the good cops. You know, not all cops are bad. Right? We all hear it all the time. Every time there's a shooting and you want to say something about the policing of Black communities or the level of different layers and energy that police officers bring towards when they're policing in white communities or when they're policing in minority communities, we see that's different. But then people have no problem reminding you that there are bad apples, but not all police officers are bad apples. And like Chris Rock said, it just happened to be that when these bad cops are killing us, we just never happen to see these good cops that happen to just step in and stop them from shooting and killing us. So the question becomes, where are these good cops who are always there talking on social media after the shooting happened, let's say in when this choking happened in Minneapolis? Police officers in New York are actually out speaking on this. They're showing how terrible and how bad it is, how this is murder. But then let us remember that before George Floyd was choked to death, it was Eric Gardner in New York who was put in the chokehold until he and put to death, right? Before Ahmad Arbury was chased by a vigilante neighborhood watch guy in Georgia, it was first George Zimmerman in Florida who chased Trayvon Martin and shot him and killed him, and he's walking free. So when we see these things, the question becomes, where are all these outraged white people who witnessed these crimes? Where are they? When they see these people killing us, what do they do about it? Do they just pray for us? Do they just say silently under their breath how bad it is? Or what? Like Martin Luther King said, at the end of the day, it's not the words of my enemies, but the silence of my friends that I remember, right? So where are our white allies, or Martin Luther King himself called them, or the moderate whites, where are they during these times when things are hard for us? And we are challenging these white people because their silence are killing us, right? At least with the racist right-wing white person, I know what I'm dealing with. When I'm working toward them, I already know. I am a Black man who live in a building in Pennsylvania wherein I am the only Black person in the building. Every time I see a white woman walk in front of me into the building, I promise between me and my God, I have to take another way around to take a door around the block just so that I will not make that white woman feel that she's so afraid of me and call the police on me. This is just my own survival mechanism, right? I can just say F it and do whatever I want to do. But I am no good to nobody when I'm dead. I feel like I'm more helpful to my community of alive. But these are the things, that genuine concerns that we have. When we have white people out there calling police officers on us, knowing what our relationship already is, they already have I call it premeditated murder, because they know when police officers come into our communities, what energy they come with. And they will blatantly call police officers on us and watch it happen, right? Where are the neighbors of those white people who witnessed those crimes? What do they say about it, right? When we're talking about these killers in Atlanta, they have neighbors who knows them. When we're talking about this white man, police officer who killed George Floyd in Minnesota, I'm not sure, I cannot authenticate this, but they said his wife just filed for a divorce. So the wife know for all these years what kind of man she was married to. She would know how this man felt about us. She knew how this man get up every day, what kind of mindset he go to work with, and she knew that he has a gun and a badge and a license to shoot and kill us. What took her so long? Why does it have to take someone dying for her to actually divorce this man? These are the questions that we are asking, and this is why we said white silence is literally translating to us dying, and that's why it is very important that our white allies, we're challenging them. Maybe a police officer killing us is more outrageous and extreme, right? But let's talking about the everyday things that we see in the workplace. You see a black woman work her entire life, work harder than everybody else, has all the qualification, and never got a promotion. And you just walk by and getting all the promotions and all the raises and all the financial benefits. Do you ever speak for that black woman, right? Where are you? I'm not saying you wait until we get shot and die. We need you to speak for us in the workplace. When you know that Donald Trump policies are against us, he is not for us, but you blatantly, selfishly decide to vote for Donald Trump, you are against us by default, whether you know it or not. We want you to be less selfish about yours. Think about us. When your governors and your senators and your mayors in your cities, you know that there are policies, you know how they think, you know how they feel towards us. We are challenging you. Don't vote for them. Don't vote for racist individuals in power who are going to make policies that are going to be against us. We are challenging the moderate white allies, the liberal white allies, even the conservative white allies who believe that they are not racist. Just saying I am not racist anymore is not enough. We want you to be against racism. I don't want to. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear about anyone telling me I am not racist. That's not enough for me. I want you to blatantly tell me I am against racist people. Then we can have a conversation. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I want to follow up on that. So blacks who want to vote for Democrats, you better hold those Democrats 100% accountable. It's forever been the case. Even in the 1990s, when Bill Clinton came on Arsenio Hall show playing that saxophone, black folk were quick to make him an honorary black person. Same thing with Joe Biden. So white liberals are told you are an exception to this white supremacist rule. That's 100% false. And so we have to hold white liberals, white Democrats accountable. We need to stop pretending that mysteriously somehow racism and white supremacy is only about white Republicans and white social conservatives and political conservatives. It's all whites. And that includes the whites who are the most polite, the whites who do not-for-profit work. They too need to understand that their not-for-profit work is only valuable if it's a constant challenge to themselves. And I also want to add, whites love protecting us off the record. Like, whites love coming to us off the record and saying, I appreciated what you said at that board meeting, right? But when blank hits the fan, these white people are very quiet and very accommodating to the whites who are harming us. And last but not least, as a Black woman criminologist, I have to say, I do not believe in a such thing as good cop. For years, I was very supportive of police departments, did work with police departments. I'm a member of criminal justice and criminology organizations. And now I just have to always tell police officers, including Black and brown police officers, I will no longer allow you to wear the good cop hat, because that good cop hat has been used forever since the Emancipation Proclamation, and police were created to control us and kill us. The good cop thing has been used to distract us as Black people. Instead of focusing on the aggregate of police departments, their harmful policies and procedures, the fact that most police departments will target us and harm us unless they're caught, like in the Freddie Gray case, and they're required with a consent decree by DOJ. And I want to also note, consent decree does not mean that real changes are happening. It means that they're putting something on the books. It does not mean there's going to be follow-up, right? So I tell these quote unquote good cops, you will only become good if you work to dismantle that which you are employed to represent. Otherwise, I don't care how many cookouts you have in Black communities. I don't care how many teddy bear donations you do during Christmas. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care how much you smile at us. You are existing in an environment that is designed on white supremacy and racism, and it harms us. And them being the highlight of good cop, even during these Minnesota protests and so forth, all of that is an attempt to distract us from the focus of dismantling coexisting and existing police presence in our communities.
Thank you for that. On that note, we'll take a 20-second break and then we'll come back. Keep watching. Don't go away. Thank you so much for watching. We are talking about diversity, the importance of diversity, and we will bring back Dr. Kimya Nuru. Welcome back, Doctor.
Hi, thank you for
And
having me.
we also have Sekou Kamara. Welcome back, Sekou. Thank you so much for allowing us to discuss about diversity today. So before the break, we were talking about the police officers, the training, and all this development of this event. My question is, Dr. Kimya, so you are in contact with all these people all the time. The question is, are we checking the people to whom we give these jobs?
No, so the people who have power, so in criminology, criminal justice, there's decades of research about police brutality, which includes Black police officers being brutal towards Black communities. And that brutality is based in how police departments use recruitment and training, and how most Black and brown police officers feel like there's a such thing as culturally, racially neutral policing. Like they'll say, I'm a Black man here, but when I put on my uniform, I'm just a police officer. Like police are robots without racial, gender, sexuality, and stuff like that. And so with the work that I do, it includes that uncomfortable talk with police departments, because police departments represent whiteness, okay? Centuries of whiteness. Specifically cisgender heterosexual white manhood, but also just whiteness in general, including white females and white women. And so the problem is that police departments, when you have that discussion, they really do not, most police departments really do not want to change anything. What they're accustomed to, and they brag about this when I speak with some police departments, they'll say, well, we do implicit bias training. So they're bragging about doing maybe a 2-hour implicit bias training every so often. Implicit bias trainings can include something so kindergarten level as this is how privilege looks. What do you think when you see this person? Implicit bias training has really nothing to do with dismantling power disparities. It has nothing to do with changing policies and procedures for police departments. It does not involve feedback and communication with communities. Even organizations that are making money by doing trainings for police departments, and they'll say, well, we're helping police departments to reach communities. They're reaching the communities that are accommodating to police. They are intentionally not going into our communities that hate police. Why? Because that is too inconvenient. You can't make quick money that way. So this is why I always say the onus is on these police departments, on law enforcement agencies, on all these organizations that work with police departments. And I tell them, you need to break many sweats. This means visibility in Black communities, visibility in communities where you will be cussed out possibly, okay? They don't want you to host a fish fry. They're not open to showing up. They're not open to coming to a training with police departments. Why? Because they have experience for generations of how police officers behave when the camera is off. And I tell this to police departments, law enforcement, and organizations all the time. You're outraged because you truly do not care about our feeling of safety. What they care more about is just driving around, monitoring, but they only care about really protecting the wider areas of the cities. And that's intentional city design. That's why you find certain restaurants and grocery stores in certain parts of cities. So intentional city design also shapes how police departments reach certain parts of the city. They'll say that's not true, but of course they're supposed to say that's not true, right? Because if it was so easy to point the finger and find out this information that's going on, we would have dismantled it a long time ago. A lot of this is off the record. They'll say this is not a policy, this is not a procedure. Okay, this is something that you all are trained for generations to do, right? And that's another complexity when we're talking about dismantling racism. It's in every, and I say this again, it is in every system. It is in every institution and organization. Even when Black and brown people are the owners of a business, even when police departments are predominantly Black, that is intentionally designed by whites to create that distraction so that now Blacks are excited and paying less attention to what whites are still doing and still allowing to happen.
Wow. Seiko.
Mm-hmm.
Any comment?
The good doctor have said it all right there. This is one of those moments I'm just gonna go to. Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
I mean, it's a lot that goes into this. It's very, and again, another example of white supremacy is when whites, including police departments, will say, we want change, but they really just want theoretical change. So as a Black woman criminologist, they're like, yeah, she's a criminologist, come on, yeah. Oh, dag, she's actually gonna challenge us, right? Because as a Black woman criminologist, they want me to be, in a sense, afraid of white people. They want me to be afraid to challenge white people in every realm, including in police departments. And this is why I tell white dominant police departments that I don't care how many uniforms you have on, I don't care how many firearms you have on your waist. What I see are white people. And they are exuding their whiteness. They are exuding their white privilege. They're exuding their white dominance. They're exuding their white supremacy. And the fact that they think I will defer to them, which I did not do even before I was a criminologist, because remember, I'm born and raised in the capital Confederacy, Richmond, VA. Mm-hmm. The fact that they think I should defer to them, not in the sense of wanting them to protect me, but instead defer to them as them being the authority. That notion of white supremacy is why white people have been allowed these past few weeks to bring firearms to police and spit in their face because whites are protesting wearing masks. But our people protesting the killing of our people in Minnesota and Kentucky are met with police threatening us. In other words, right to bear arms was only created for white people. Freedom of speech was created for white people. The rest of us are controlled, and we're controlled by police departments. No matter how they word it, the outcome is still the same.
Let's let that sink in a little bit. We'll take a 5-second break and then we'll come back. Don't go away. When we come back, we'll talk about Diversity Daily and then we'll conclude. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. Again, this is Afro Swag Media and Magazine. We are talking about diversity today, the importance of diversity. Why do we need to talk about diversity daily, especially in this moment, this time in the US, where all these events are going on? We had Breonna Taylor in Kentucky. We had Ahmad Arbury in Georgia, and lately, George Floyd. We have Dr. Kimya Nuru. Let me bring her back to the camera. Welcome back, Doctor.
Thank you.
And Seiko, welcome back.
Thank you.
So, any more comments? Anything you guys would like to add?
What you want to say, Sekou?
I guess I will use this opportunity to kind of have a heart-to-heart conversation with my fellow African brothers and sisters, whether back home in Africa or here in the diaspora. And Dr. Kimya, I will ask you to excuse me for 1 second. Let me have this discussion, because some things, conversation are like the N-word, right? We can use it in culturally in our.
Yeah, I have nothing wrong with that word. Yeah.
Right. But then we need to allow certain things that when we talk about it, I want them to know that it's coming from a place of love, or not anger, or I'm not trying to castigate anyone or look down upon anyone. And let me take my glasses off, because I want people to understand that I'm serious about this.
That's right.
I have had this a lot from my African brothers, a lot, every time we try to talk about Black Lives Matter. And they always try to remind me and bring to my attention that, well, I live in the hood. What about black on black crime, right? And I want to tell you that boils, my blood boils in my body when I hear that. Or how people will try to remind me that they came to America, they went to school, they are the good people, they have a great job, they never have to face this racism that we're talking about, that or they think that they are safe from this, that they are not affected or will not be affected by this, because they live their nice gated community among in suburban areas, or nice estates or nice apartment complexes where they live among other cultures. So they think they made it, and they should, for that reason or for that matter, they believe that it's due to their actions or due to their inactions is what made them special and privileged, and their little education and fancy degrees that make them different from everyone else. I want them to clearly understand that I came from West Africa, the Gambia, which is the birthplace of the most famous slave, arguably the most famous slave, Kunta Kinte. I came to the United States of America understanding my privileges. I attended 2 Black historical colleges, Ross College in Holly Springs, Mississippi, Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. I earned both my degrees from HBCUs, and I happened to find a very, very lucrative job in corporate America. I am paid well to do what I do, and I'm very good at it. I live in very nice, secure, safe communities, and I enjoy it, and I'm happy for that. But make no mistakes, that this privilege I am enjoying it at the back of the African American community. They are the ones who were here, who had to fight slavery. They had to die to get out of the bondage of slavery. They are the ones who had to sit out here and fight against Jim Crow. They had to face the battle of the guns and marching, even though they were being shot at. They continue marching even though they had dogs with police dogs chasing them. They keep on marching even though they had the water pipes and the hose pipe being sprayed at them. They kept marching even though they have been lynched and hanging out from trees. They keep on marching and marching on. I live in a nice community today because somebody made sure that they fought against redlining. I live in a nice community today because somebody fought for the fair housing with the Fair Housing Authority in the 60s when we finally housed that bill signed. So I have a very nice job, probably because somebody fought for affirmative action, because left to some other people, I will never see a daylight in corporate America. I'm enjoying this privileged lifestyle because of somebody fought and felt a need that Black people need a place and an institution where they can be educated. That's why I got my education from a HBCU. So by no means am I taking this for granted, and by no means do I think that I'm out here basically solely because of my intelligence, my hard work, and because God bless me. I am here because I understand that I am sitting on the shoulders of the struggle of the African American community in America. And for that, I will forever be grateful to the African American community in America. And for that reason, I don't care whether a single African has ever been affected or infected or impacted by racism in America. If my African American community are impacted, I'll be damned if I don't stand up and fight with them. I'll be marching with them. I'll be doing it afraid. I'll be doing it scared. But nonetheless, I will do it alongside with my African American community because I am here in America today, privileged because of their struggle. So I just want to make sure that my brothers and sisters understand that here in America, and I want my brothers and sisters to understand that in Africa as well.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you.
I'm right there with you. And Dr. Kimya Nuru, I believe that just confirms what you said at the beginning. When I was telling you about Seiko that he's joining us, you said, I'm glad to have people from the continent.
Yes. I'm fighting back tears. I'm fighting back tears because I am of African descent. I'm of African diaspora, and centuries of tensions between Black Americans and African diaspora in South America and the Caribbean, on the continent of Africa. Black Americans are often told constantly that we're not really African, as though we chose to abandon our cultures, as though we chose to abandon our religions, as though we chose to abandon our languages. And we did not choose that. So it's not impossible, but it's difficult for us to really learn our heritage and our background if we're constantly told by our people on the continent of Africa, for which many of us still have family members, right? If we're constantly told that you're not really African, you're white, right? Or people will tell us you're not really intelligent and knowledgeable. And then we have Black Americans who mock Africa because we were taught that Africa, despite thousands of years of knowledge, are a bunch of heathens and monkeys and people who are not smart, right? And I mean, I think back to my brothers and me, us being born and raised in the Capital Confederacy, we all have Swahili first and middle names. And when we were kids, that's when the movie Shaka Zulu first came out in the 80s, right? And kids used to make fun of our names. And they used to sing the theme song of Shaka Zulu, boom, 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 boom. And they were like, Kimya Nuru, what kind of name is that? And that was heartbreaking because it's the name of our origins of our people. It's one of many languages on the continent of Africa, Swahili. And so for us to have this unity, we have to understand our commonalities while also loving our differences. We are thousands of cultures, thousands of languages, thousands of religions, thousands of beliefs, right? Mm-hmm. And so we don't have to all pretend to be the same for us to unite as African diaspora. So thank you so much, brother, for saying that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions. I don't see any more comments. We can take one question or one last comment for those that are watching. Thank you so much for connecting with us today. And we would like to thank Omuba. Omuba is a new brand started by an African immigrant. Let me show you a little bit, and that's what I'm actually wearing today. Thank you so much for sponsoring us. And Dr. Kimya Nuru, welcome back. Seiko, welcome back. It was a privilege. It was an honor to have you today on this platform. Talk about this sensitive topic that can make us very uncomfortable, but yet we do need to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Think about all the people that are being traumatized because of what is happening. And to me personally, I believe it's an oppression, not being able to talk about it. Like I said at the beginning, no matter what the color of your skin is, no matter how you feel about it, this is a free country. Please allow us to talk about it. Let us free ourselves. Any last comment, Dr. Seiko?
I just appreciate you both, and I want us to keep these discussions and also talk about the way that this is impacting policies and also laws. So the visibility of our people is action, and I focus on preventive measures so that we don't keep getting these news stories of our people being harmed and then we protest. I believe protest is a 24/7 thing, and that's why I say discuss diversity daily, because discussing this, people think we always mad, which is fine. That's why I tell people then protest is a daily thing. We're not just waiting for tragedy to happen.
I'm so glad that you said that, Kimya. I would like to conclude by saying that the reason why we have so many voices when you speak of the Black community, you have like Dr. Kimya Nuru here doing a great job in the criminal justice system. Myself and other people are doing all the things that we can. It all goes on to say that the Black struggle, like I said earlier, is not monolithic. One thing though that we can say that anywhere you go in this world, the Black struggle is real. We are not, our standard of living anywhere you go in this world is usually subpar compared to the communities or the environment that we live in. When you go to France, our brothers and sisters in France, the Black people are living in quartiers, right? In America, we call them projects. In the UK, we call them consular housing. In Germany, we call them Heims, right? In Sweden, they have a name for it, I'm sure of it. So anytime, anywhere you go in this world, even in Africa, we are slums, and the president of the United States call us shitholes. So everywhere we go in this world, it seems like the Black man is struggling. And when I say the Black man, I'm talking about both men and women here at this point. We are just struggling. It doesn't matter where we go. When you kill a Chinese person, I guarantee you will hear from the Chinese government, right? When you kill a Jewish person, I guarantee you will hear from Israel. When you kill an Indian person, I guarantee you will hear from India. And even when you kill a Latino person, you will hear from Latin America or the Mexico or Spanish-speaking countries. And if you kill the brown people, the Arab, you will hear from Saudi Arabia. And we have heard from Saudi Arabia a multitude of times when they feel like their people are under attack. But when you kill a Negro, who do you hear from? No one. So this is why we are this franchise. This is why we are matching, and this is why we are fighting, and this is why we are all speaking up. So we would encourage everyone. We are unapologetic about what we are doing here. This is this is real to us. This is a life and death situation to us. All what we are saying is, if you cannot support what we are doing, then leave us the heck alone to do what we do. But we are not about to apologize for what we do. We will keep on fighting, we will keep on demanding, and we will keep on asking for equal rights and equal justice in all aspects of life, whether it's the healthcare system, whether it's our employment, whether it is the political voting system, whatever it is, whether it is even the gay rights and whatnot, we'll fight for everybody. We are here fighting for every single body to make sure that we all have our rights and all rights are respected. And Deborah, thank you very much for giving us this platform to have this conversation. It's good for every now and then for us to get together and discuss and talk and remind the world that we are not children of a lesser God, that we are wonderful kings and queens, and we are unapologetic about it. And we will tell them, and like in the words of Biggie Small, if you don't know,
now you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.